Welcome to Live Darts TV. We're still here at the PDC Fishing Championships and we're joined by fellow broadcaster Dan Dawson. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. How big time are you? Like you're sponsoring the event and stuff.
I know, it's nice little board of our own. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, going up in the world.
It's gone all right, it's gone all right.
Yeah.
I say, considering we only launched in February like this, it's gone amazingly well, so really happy with it.
I'm really impressed with all the great stuff Live Darts are doing on social media.
Thanks, Dan. It's always nice to hear that's going well. Only one place to start. The World Series is now done and dusted. 6 events, 6 different winners in the regional qualifiers and things like that. Unbelievable standard. It's just, where do we go next with it?
Well, I think it's been by far the best World Series that we've had over the years it's been happening, and that's not just because we've had the variety of 6 different winners, but we're seeing better stuff from the host nation qualifiers, and it is evolving, it's getting better. You know, we saw a first winner in China, and I know that they've been strengthened by having the Asian tour, and those players, they're not all just Chinese players. But the fact is that they're winning games. In Auckland, I mean, we could have had like 3 or 4 winners, really.
I was going to say, the Seeds got away with it in Auckland, massively.
And I know they just got off the plane or whatever, but even so, some of the stuff, I mean, even some of the guys who didn't get as close as they might have done, Pusey, who played Anderson, I mean, he was playing fantastically in that game. He really could have, taken a couple more chances. It might have gone another way. I think the World Series has been amazing. And it also shows, Mentor won the first one. Didn't see him again on the World Series for the rest of it. We only see him in his home city of Vienna for the World Series finals. The strength in depth now, it really does mean that you're going into big tournaments, whether it be the World Series finals or whatever we've got coming up in the rest of the year, and you don't know who's going to win, and I think that makes it really exciting.
Some big victories as well. The likes of Peter Wright and Rob Cross back in the winning circle on TV is massively important, because they're getting talked about, they've only done it once, can they do it again? And that monkey's almost gone.
Yeah, I think so. And we saw those guys pick up their first titles of the year since the World Championship on that same weekend of the Pro Tour as well. And they've both, within quick order, gone and won their first televised titles of the year. And I think that does just show how strong it is. But, when you see the 6 winners from 6 different events, it's not as if there weren't other guys who could have done it. Barney was knocking on the door. James Wade was playing some fantastic stuff. And we've not even seen some players like Adi, for example, who hasn't been on the World Series. There are so many players right now who are playing some really, really good stuff, and I think it just makes it even more exciting. It's not the dominance that we saw from MVG, even though he's won 15 titles this year. It's not dominance we saw last year for him.
Wadey in Vegas was vintage, I think. Doubling up there 60%, and he's scoring better than I've ever seen him at the moment. Yeah. An absolute threat. You can see he's obviously worked hard in his game, because he wasn't in a good place on the board, and that time away, it's almost done him the world of good, and he's almost back.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's definitely back. I mean, I said earlier on this year when he was starting to play well, he'd ironed out those kinks in his technique, that he's going to win something this year. I've said the same about Adrian, and neither of them have yet.
But they're fractions away.
Oh, definitely. I think we're coming into September now. We've got 3 Euro Tours, the finest tour in professional sport.
Obviously.
And some of these guys are going to be missing a few of them. So Rob Cross is going to miss a couple of them. I think Van Gerwen's going to duck out of a couple. Even Peter Wright is starting to miss the odd one now and again. I know. And that just means it opens the door for players like Wadey, Jackpot, and who knows who else to go and win one of those titles. And as we've seen before, the Euro Tour and the Pro Tour, but the Euro Tour particularly, gives you clues as to what's going to happen in the big events, as well as actually qualifying for them. You win one of those, you're going to get in the Grand Slam. So it's a big old carrot that you've got on the Euro Tour.
I think the Euro Tour is like a mini major, because you're playing on the stage, you're playing in front of 2,000-3,000 people on a regular basis. So these players that duck out of the Euro Tours are missing that vital stage experience.
Yeah, and look, if you're playing World Series, if you're playing Premier League, if you're playing everything, I don't expect you to go and play every single tournament, because it's mad.
You can't. The schedule's too much now.
Peter Wright has done it for a couple of years, well, a bit more than a couple of years, but even he has had to go, look, there's just too much here. I mean, we're going Euro Tour straight to Pro Tour midweek and then back on the Euro Tour. It is a lot of travelling, a lot of darts. I get that. But there are more opportunities than ever, and the players are taking those advantages and taking those chances to go and show what they can do and improve. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing more players getting to a standard that can win you titles. And once they do that, as the likes of Jeffrey Desvaughn showed in Blackpool, if you can play at that level on the Pro Tour and get to finals and win things, then there's nothing to stop you going and do it over long format games and really going and threatening to win a major title like the match play.
I'd say Jeffrey was an absolute fresh air at the match play. We've seen Dimitri go deep in TV tournaments as well. These young kids have got no fear coming through now whatsoever.
Yeah, but it's not even just the young kids, is it? I mean, you look at the Challenge Tour and how it's revitalised some of the older players and turned it. Yeah, Michael Barnard was a guy who'd had his tour card, and you'd turn up and you'd see him in the first couple of rounds, and he could be dangerous, he'd be slow, it'd be difficult to play against. He's gone to the Challenge Tour, and now he's regularly throwing ton plus averages, and when he does step up and play on the full tour, and he's probably going to win the Challenge Tour and get his tour card back, then he's going to be very dangerous, and who knows what Michael Barnard could end up doing, because there are so many opportunities, pathways for players to reach their potential, to reach their best, whether it be a young player or an older player or somebody like Rob Cross who's come from absolutely nowhere.
But you said that the pathways before, it was very straight, it was the Pro Tour direct got you in, when now there's so much going on and there's so much opportunities for players that, like you say, they can almost go, right, that's the path I want to take now, but then it diverts again and again.
Yeah, and I think, we started off talking about the World Series. The World Series is another pathway for those players who aren't playing on the Pro Tour, who haven't committed to going over to the UK or basing themselves in Europe and playing, but it's giving them a little taste. And whether we start seeing players from there go and think, you know what, I'm going to test myself on the tour, I'm going to try and get my tour card, or I'm going to play the Asian Tour, or I'm going to start playing more regularly in the DPA events down under, then it just gives them opportunities and ways of getting into the top level of the game. And the World Championship now, with so many places on offer, it is massive. And I know people aren't expecting that we're going to see an Indian qualifier go and make the quarterfinals or the semi-finals straight away, but you only have to look at how the standards improved around the world because of how the PDC have set up this structure. I think it just offers more opportunities. You keep offering opportunities, you keep getting more people interested in the game, you're going to see this game spread. It's not a game that's owned by the UK or Holland or even Europe. It is a global game, and people are going to start showing that over the next few years, because I really think we're going to see it grow.
Definitely. Well, Dan, thanks for taking time out to join us. I'll let you get on with the rest of the day. Absolute pleasure to have you here on Live Darts. Cheers, mate.
Anytime.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.